let's start the event.
Welcome everybody and welcome to day 2 of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. My name is Diana Despodov. I'm Corporate Collaboration Lead at Startup Macedonia, who is the host of this year's Global Entrepreneurship Week. I am on one hand sorry that we are meeting in this unusual way in these unusual times, but on the other hand, I'm happy that we had the technology that makes it possible to proceed with the Global Entrepreneurship Week, although we all feel sort of handicapped by the pandemic this year. And on the other hand, the technology has given us an opportunity to gather here today with speakers who are currently in Amsterdam and in London and in Prague and in Romania. So this is something that we should actually be happy about. We are here basically to discuss the technologies that made events like today's possible. And our partner in today's event and in the upcoming activities is a company that doesn't need a lot of introduction other than its name, Oracle, one of the world's leaders in digital transformation and technology. And I am very happy to be hosting this event today to discuss digital transformation in the context of how startups can use digital tools to improve their work and to be more agile, more productive, and more connected. Before we start the event with our today's speakers, I would like to invite the program director of Startup Macedonia, Igor Majo, to welcome us and say a couple of words.
Thank you, Diana. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first session on the second day of Global Entrepreneurship Week, a global event that actually brings a lot of the stakeholders that are active in the startup ecosystem and entrepreneurial ecosystem. Startup Macedonia, as an ecosystem organization, has been active for 4 years, bringing all stakeholders and resources to startups. So therefore, we are very happy that we are collaborating with Oracle, and we are doing this in order to strengthen the bond between technology and creating products in a way that we'd like to enable startups from North Macedonia, but also from the whole Adriatic region to be better at what they are doing, creating better technology products, but also create great businesses. Therefore, I would like especially to thank our Oracle team for making this partnership possible. And we have some very interesting projects and initiatives that are ahead of us, but it will not take much time from today's session because we like to hear it directly from those who are actively included in digitalization, in startup activity from Oracle. It's a great pleasure to have you all here. So Diana, thank you. I will leave the floor to the Fund of Innovation Director to say something about the collaboration with Startup Macedonia and the importance of this partnership with Oracle.
Thank you, Igor. Hello, everyone from the foggy Skopje. I, first of all, would like to thank Startup Macedonia for the amazing work they've done on the Global Entrepreneurship Week. I spoke at their event yesterday, so I'm really proud that we have organizations at Startup Macedonia that are paving the way, that are helping us as government bodies and agencies to shape our strategies. I know it will sound a bit cliche what I'm about to say, but if there is one positive thing out of this situation, it is that it has taught us that we have to be faster thinkers, we need to have faster processes, and we need to be more innovative, both as a government, both as a country, both as a private sector. And digitalization plays a big part of it. If there was a time for fast digitalization, for truly understanding the power of digitalization, it is now. And what is really important is that this process, both for the private and the government sector, we cannot do it by ourselves. We will need partners as Oracle and other technology companies that will help us create this digitalization together. So I very much look forward to hearing the talks today, learning new things, and hopefully hopefully using the lessons learned to implement them in our agency and in our government. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Costa. Congratulations on your position and welcome. And we look forward to working with you. From what I heard last night about your plans, I'm sure it will be a very fruitful cooperation. Next, we will have a greeting from Victor Maghiari, who is a sales director for Romania, Moldova, and the Adriatic for Oracle. Victor, please.
Hello, good morning, everybody. So I'm really happy and excited to be here with you today. And I know there are many other things to follow with the Adriatic startup. So stay tuned because we have more to say. Now, coming back to the topics today, I should say that with this new norm that happens today with the COVID, with companies not able to join their premises, not even able to drive their people, or even sometimes having problems with their projects or whatever they want to put in place, but primarily having problems with their cash, I mean, with the incomes. I think it's the right momentum to understand that one of the way, maybe the best way to solve such problems is the cloud approach. Why is that? Any company who is thinking to still resist on the market, to develop, to thrive over these times, and any company which likes to develop furthermore their business can access, for instance, our cloud solutions in the most secure way, because we put security in the center of our cloud. Then use the tools or the solutions that we have there, and also actually thrive through these very complicated times. So I think you're on the right place now, having the chance to participate and actually to develop solutions in our cloud, to use and to challenge, if not else, our solutions in the cloud, and to help not only yourself, but customers and customers of your customers to become, let's say, successful, even in these very complicated times. But I think this COVID should pass, maybe in a more time than we expected. But the ones that will resist, the companies that will be there, will be the ones that use digitalization at scale, the ones that will be able to be agile and flexible, the one that will be able to control their costs on even daily basis, the one that can scale up and down on their business, and the one that actually will use this will be for sure the companies in the cloud. So wish you good luck with today's session. More to come in December. I will give you more details on the end of this day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. And now it is time to basically sink our teeth into the meat of today's topic and event. And it is my pleasure to introduce Peter Green, who is going to talk about how Oracle and its solutions are empowering startups to transform the way they do business. Peter, please.
Thank you. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Firstly, I just want to thank the extended team for putting together such an amazing event. And also, I would really like to thank the team for inviting me to come and speak today. So today, I'm going to talk about some key trends around what we're seeing in the startup world. And I'm going to start with a little introduction about myself. As you can hear, I'm an Australian. I've been living in Amsterdam, working with Oracle Digital for the last 5 years. I lead the digital transformation and industry innovation team across EMEA. So with that, today, let's just land a little bit here on the safe harbor statement, and I'll let you take that in. And one of the things I wanted to talk about or kind of land on you before we start our journey today is, you know, no parachute. What do you do in the first day of a startup? What's important? What are the key areas that we need to think about? And how does that look for future-proofing your business? So, Oracle, it's hard to believe, but yes, we're from very humble beginnings. We were actually a startup, and previous to Oracle, I worked in a startup. So I've had some experience about the stresses of what to do next, how to plan. But I just really wanted to put it out there that, you know, startup is part of our DNA. Today, I'm going to talk about some key trends. I'm going to talk about maybe point out some challenges, and we're going to go on a journey maybe to help you ideate, and maybe we can co-create some solutions together. So let's start with some predictions. Capital efficiency will be king. Investment rounds have steadily grown over the past years. We've seen seeding investments from reaching around 7 to 11 million. And the market's seen a lot of ineffective business models with unsuitable founders. So now the markets will be looking a little bit more conservatively at companies that can show how they can, A, retain and acquire new customers at scale, and then how they can scale with acquisitions and channels, and then shift from traditional incubators to focus on, you know, virtual support via corporations. What's really interesting is that we're seeing lots of corps across the globe are starting to launch virtual startup programs and innovation hubs to connect new innovators and digital startups. So I think what's really important about this is tapping into the right program to actually strengthen your kind of financial blueprint when you're looking for investment is really, really important. And also tapping into the right technology solutions and the right ideas is really important. No longer are we seeing that the traditional hotspots like San Fran and Boston and London are where we're finding our kind of startup growth. We're seeing, you know, solutions pop up everywhere around the globe, and that's really, really exciting. We're also seeing that, you know, entrepreneurs need to access resources regardless of where they live. So there's no longer this big buzz to cluster into these traditional hubs for startups. Another thing, cultural accountability. Now, we all know that the startup sector has this, or did have this whole culture of chaos, right? And, you know, I can think of some of the brands around the culture of chaos, that fast moving, break things, high pressure. But I really believe that founders have now realized that the hustle culture can be counterproductive. And also it can actually be, you know, have a negative impact on attracting talent and actually strengthening that brand platform. We're seeing that startups were instrumental in kind of leading global behavior in organizations, right? They were all about what was top priority now is around performance and behavior, mental health, diversity, and wellness. They really led the charge in kind of building this platform for their employees. With that though, consumers wanted more transparency into this kind of cultural expectation. So, you know, a startup or a scale up now has to live up to this new kind of brand expectation that they've built, this image, right? And this accountability, this culture of accountability has come into play, which is really interesting because you see some of the bigger corporations starting to adopt this ideation that the startup culture has launched, has built, has strengthened. So a little bit on the back office, right? Agility in organizations begins with planning. That's simple, right? The more prepared your organization is through thorough planning and modeling, the faster the organization is going to be able to respond to events when they occur. So a spotlight on automation and back office is a really, really big opportunity in the startup space. The reason is you're going to see tech companies look for solutions that they can take to bigger organizations that are slower to adopt transformational trends like for example, insurance companies or logistics companies. So there's a big opportunity now because these companies are looking to capitalize on disruptive ideas that can actually streamline their back office. We're kind of seeing the implementation of blockchain specifically across the insurance and logistics sector to help automate the settlements process and the supply chain management and take away complexities. So that's a really big opportunity, especially in that kind of that growth tech sector. Oracle's cloud detailed the scenarios around modeling functionality in enterprise performance management, and then the ability to envision possible futures for business scenarios. So we think about that, you know, the challenge of the bottom line and how do you react to that? So micro moments. So consumers are expecting even more faultless experiences from digital services. So I've got a great example of this, right? I absolutely love the festive season. It's something that, you know, I can't help myself with. I like to, you know, buy new decorations every year and over fairy light the house. And I was on this website trying to buy some stuff yesterday, and it forgot my basket after I put about 200 items in it. So, you know, if you think about that in terms of what does a faultless digital experience look like, there's this new expectation from consumers that they need quick, insightful interactions with the platform. You know, that moment of indecisiveness from a consumer is that moment of opportunity from an organization to be able to bridge that gap, to fill in that kind of indecision moment with information. You know, you'll see that there's tools available that will be able to start to build platforms that capture habits and that start to eliminate that indecisiveness. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for someone like me with my fairy lights and too many festive decorations, but you know, think about that as in terms of, you know, there are these kind of micro moments or channels of opportunity in creating new opportunities for startups and technology. So Gartner predicts that 20.4 billion objects will be connected to the internet. So IoT is in the spotlight at the moment. While the focus will be now largely on lifestyle opportunities, we're seeing a number of a big shift towards professional, healthcare, and logistics. So people are looking at how do they connect in terms of logistics and healthcare for their own consumer capability. This is sparking an even greater interest in the VC community. So when it comes to kind of that development in that sector, the VC community are really interested in investments in that sector. So while IoT can be transformative, sorry, excuse me, for people and businesses, it also comes with new risks, right? So we know that connected devices are a hacker's dream because you can access the weakest technology platforms in the supply chain. And then they can infiltrate the wider networks. But with the newer possibilities of IoT, there's also comes concerns that businesses need to make sure that they've got the appropriate security measures and protocols in place. So security is absolutely key. I don't really want to land too much on COVID, but I think it would be remiss of me not to mention it. We were talking a little bit earlier before the session started around you know, innovation and opportunity, and you know, on-premise applications have reigned supreme for many years. We know that. All too often, the simplicity and power of on-premise applications have now led to kind of this costly, complex spaghetti in systems. So, you know, COVID has, with its tragedy and its, you know, disruption, has also created, you know, this massive opportunity for people to use technology to bring creative elements to bring to unleash or unmesh the spaghetti to bring less complexity into networks. You know, regardless of your legacy system situation, this challenge is, you know, is here today and it can't be ignored. So I want to talk a little bit about this business model, and I want to kind of just double down on a few key elements of what we see. This is a business model canvas, right? I'm sure that most of you know that, and I'm just going to give you a quick orientation of what I think is important. So we're going to go over here to customers and re-segments. Customers' behaviours and expectations are now defining new consumer market segments. So those relationships between those segments and the expectation and the dependency. And then if you shift to the channels, you know, the question is, you know, is my channel fit for purpose? So do I have the right channels to service these new re-segments? And, you know, are the relationships that I'm having with those channels the right technologies in those channels? I'm just gonna move to my notes on this one a little bit, so bear with me. So in that relationship model or in that expectation model, the business canvas, you know, the interrelationship between these sectors is extremely important. And then you move over to the value propositions piece. And we talked a little bit earlier about that, that customer expectation and the value proposition piece. And then we also looked at, okay, what does that mean for back office protocol? How do I streamline my back office to be able to deliver that kind of relationship interaction between the channel and the technology? And then, of course, you know, we have limited resources to do this. So where do we focus? What is the right way to focus when we're looking at business processes? What are the areas that are key? And, you know, you can see the degree of impact up there on the right and how the relationships between the two or the segments unfold. And then mostly, you know, the movement in the cost variable model, right? Like the cost structure versus the revenue streams. So, you know, like I said, I didn't want to land too heavily on this, but it's really a very interesting model when you're kind of thinking about my scale up of my startup or my startup of my new business. You know, how do I segment the areas of importance? And then finally, I wanted to pop up just a reference for you all to take in, but I also wanted to mention something that I find really important and really interesting. I wanted to mention that the data shows that 2% of female-led startups are getting traction with VC funding, right? They were. The expectation is this will grow to around 8% in 2020. The key reason, it's now easier, A, to access funding, and secondly, companies see the value in female leadership. They've noted that with female leadership, you see greater innovation, you see an increase in productivity, and net, they're seeing improved financial results when there's that gender diversity. And you know, diversity is really important, but I'm kind of focusing here on, you know, female-led startups. So, you know, the prediction is it might take 10 years to reach parity, but actually the trend for investors is to look for that blend, that diversity in the leadership of startups. So something really interesting and something really exciting for all startups out there when they're thinking about the construct of their leadership. Now, I'm not going to steal the rest of the presentation's thunder, but you know, it would be remiss of me not to kind of talk about you know, today's startups are born in the cloud. That means that their choice of cloud provider is very, very important. And you know, the question is, what do startups look for from a cloud provider? Value, performance, and security essentially are some of the key factors. They're crucial factors, and they're reasons that, you know, Oracle has a very, very strong offering in the marketplace for startups. And one of the interesting things, and I'll just go back to one of the earlier slides around what VCs are looking for, is if you can provide a stronger financial framework, and you know, and that startup space is really important if you're kind of engaging in, you know, a framework with a larger corporation. That will just strengthen that kind of question around, you know, does this person have a strong financial backing? Does this startup have a strong financial framework? So, you know, if you're considering working with a larger partner, then Oracle is someone definitely to consider. So that's it for me today. I wanted to thank you again for listening. I hope that some of the key takeaways were interesting, and I will hand back to the team to move forward. Thanks again, and nice to be here.
Thank you, Peter. That was an excellent and insightful set of predictions about what startups can expect in 2020 and going forward. Before we move on to the next speaker, I just wanted to remind you that at any time you can ask questions from the speakers. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen there. And then at the end, we will be able to review your questions and provide answers live. And now, as Peter hinted in her speech, we will hand over to Matt Price, who is a business development leader for Oracle for Startups. And he's going to introduce the offerings that Oracle has for startups and some of the program benefits. Please, Matt.
Thank you very much, and yeah, I'll just echo some of the comments that have already been raised. It's a real joy to be part of an event like this. Thank you to the wider team, everybody who's put some time and effort into ensuring that we can put these things together. I'm unashamedly going to piggyback off of my colleagues here. Victor said some brilliant things in the opening statements around Oracle's journey and what we're doing. I'm going to echo some of that, and I'm absolutely going to pick up where Peter had left off and give you more of a sense of our program itself. Before we jump into any of that, let me introduce myself and give you a little bit of a sense of the shape and structure for the coming minutes. So my name is Matt Price. I have the privilege of being part of the team that runs Oracle for Startups. This is Oracle's dedicated program globally to support startups in their journey. And I want to take you on a bit of a journey today. I'm hoping to bring together a few things. I am hoping to give you some inspiration. I'm hoping to give you some information, and I'm hoping to leave you with an invitation. So inspiration, information, and invitation. If I do my job correctly, I'm looking to bring together all of these elements. Inspiration, because we've got great news to share, and I'm passionate about sharing it and communicating what is it that we're doing, where have we come from as a business, and how are we helping startups to scale and to tap into, as Peter mentioned, tap into the right partnerships, tap into the right technologies to assist you. This is brilliant. I'm going to, as clearly as I can, articulate what is in our program and give you a few of the details behind it. And I want to leave you with an invitation. If you are interested, if you want to find out more, how can we help you to do that? So real quick snapshot, brief intro. This is me, beyond the world of work, a little bit more of the rest of Matt. Now, we know that COVID has had far-reaching global effects. Part of that effect has been my hairstyle. So I'm just going to come clean now. Some of these photos are a little bit old. The profile photo on the website and bio does not reflect my current lockdown hairstyle, and I apologize for that, but that's okay. So look, just a little bit about me. I'm a family man. I'm passionate about community work and plugging into the things that drive your interests and passions. So whether that's music, whether that's sport, whatever it is that you do. I encourage you to let your passion shape a little bit about who you are. And that, I think, shows up in our work. It shows up in businesses that get founded, solutions that we're trying to solve as well. And I'm going to reflect on this sense of journey. So I'm going to share a little bit more, come from a slightly different angle around Oracle's journey. I've been here for 12 years. So I've got, I think, a good sense of where we've come from, where we're going, and why it matters. I want to reflect on the Oracle for Startups journey. So we've been building a program for the last 3 years. I'm going to give you some insight into that, where it's come from and how it's changed. And primarily, I really want to reflect on the journey of the startup founder. So all of this is about engaging and enabling startups to do what they do, to further progress that journey and scale. So in terms of Oracle's journey, I won't labor this point too much. It's been covered off quite neatly in what we've heard before. But just to repeat, I've been here for 12 years. Now, some of the things that I really like about Oracle's history and our reputation are some huge strengths. So Oracle as a trusted technology provider. Oracle is a brand that's seen to be absolutely at the top of its game in terms of security, scalability, high availability architecture. These are pillars of Oracle and have been for a long time. And as we've shifted and evolved, and in all honesty, played some catch up with some other technology providers in the space of cloud, those things have stayed with us. And I think it's really important to remember that most of Oracle's history, most of our past is about enterprise customers. It's in relatively recent years that we've really begun to engage with small business, with startups in a meaningful and really robust way. But actually, this is a good thing. And I think our history and our past enables our future. So I'm passionate that we're working with startups. Our message into small business has come alive, and it's compelling. A huge amount of the value behind that message around small business comes from the fact that we built a legacy and a history solving challenging needs for huge enterprise customers and meeting the demands of scale and availability and security. These things are now equally true in what we're packaging up and making available to small business. Now that's really exciting for me. But Oracle as a business is now equally relevant and adding value to the biggest of enterprise customers around the world, as we are to the newest of startups. I don't think there's many businesses on the planet that can fulfill that. It's really exciting to be part of a business that is. The journey of Oracle for Startups. Let me reflect on that briefly before I give you the detail of the program today. For the last 3 years, we've been crafting, refining a program, and the shape of that program, the size, the scale, the format of that program keeps changing. It's evolved year after year through a few iterations, but the mission has stayed really consistent. Again, I think that's a really exciting combination. So the mission here is, how do we help small businesses to engage with great technology? That's always been a consistent, and the way we've gone about it has changed, but that's there. And then once they're engaging with that technology, how do we do them good? How do we help to provide visibility? How do we help to in any enterprise customer space? These are constants. I'm going to now take you into a little bit more detail about how do we do that. So in terms of mission, the Oracle for Startups program is really trying to do two things. We absolutely want to make it easy and compelling for businesses to use Oracle Cloud. Come and try what we've got now on the table. We are confident that you'll like it. We're confident that it's going to add value. But we have a program to make it as easy as we possibly can to help people to take those first steps. That's step number one. Step number 2, which this slide talks to a little bit more, is about building these virtuous cycles of innovation. And fundamentally, this is about connection building. So we want to connect exciting startups with amazing opportunities. And we want to connect those startups, not just with the technology side of what we're doing, but connect them with our customer base. So that's all part of the DNA and the foundational pieces of what we are trying to build. But let me take you one layer down in terms of the detail, because everyone wins when we get this right. We think that startups win. All right, startups win by get access to vetted quality startups that help them to stay competitive and solve their customer needs. And it's really, really good for Oracle. And the way we've gone about doing that looks like this. So we have a global program that's open to entrepreneurs, startups all around the world. It's equity free, and there's no cost for a startup to come and start a journey with us. It doesn't matter if the solution we're talking about is a B2B solution or a B2C solution. It could be public sector, it could be private sector. It doesn't matter. We want to be as open and available to as many businesses as possible to come and begin a journey with us. We're not bound to a particular technology set. We're not bound to a particular industry vertical. And you're not bound to a particular time of year or a fixed cohort where you need to potentially join us. So it's year-round enrollments, open and as easy as we possibly can make it. And what we provide to startups is quite simple. It's first and foremost an environment of Oracle Cloud, available to explore, to tap into, to begin to understand the breadth and depth of the services that we provide. But that environment comes with a couple of things that are unique to the startup program. No other business engaging with Oracle can get access to the commercial offering that we're providing. So we do provide some free credits. Free credits are helpful and they help people to explore and get started. More importantly than that, in my opinion, we provide a, relatively speaking, long-term discount, a 70% commercial discount on pay-as-you-go. So very, very flexible across all of our infrastructure, all of our platform solutions, 70%, and that's valid from day one, and it continues for this long-term period. We encourage startups to level up their engagement with us. So super easy to begin, and even just to tentatively test. I want to take one step towards exploring what this cloud could look like. Anybody who wants to do that is very, very welcome as a startup. But from there, we enable startups to continue to build a relationship with us, qualify for some further benefits and new ways that they can engage and take extra value out of this relationship. All of that is managed through an intuitive user interface that we call the Startup Portal. Now, Oracle Cloud has been mentioned a couple of times. From the startup specific perspective, I just want to raise a few points. So it's no great secret that Oracle were not an early mover in cloud. Oracle in our 40+ year history have been very innovative in a number of different ways. I think it's fair to say that being a kind of an established, mature cloud provider is only something that we've been able to claim in relatively recent years. And that's okay. It's actually given us some great advantages. So we've been able to engineer a cloud that we believe is more robust and more able to service the needs of businesses large and small. We've been able to create something that is incredibly performant and affords the businesses that are tapping into these resources a great deal of comfort around performance and predictability. We've also been able to understand the cost models that have existed in cloud, set our pricing to be extremely competitive against other cloud providers. And also think about some of the wider factors that can cause frustrations and uncertainty, particularly for startups. So whether that's global consistency around pricing, We give the ability to select a service in one data center region, and it's going to be the same price as it would be in another data center region. This is not the case for some other cloud providers. We've been very cautious thinking about data egress charges and some of the surprise costs that can be a real plague to many businesses. And all in all, we're confident. Come and try what we have provided. So it's startup friendly, but it's built for the enterprise. There's no vendor lock-in, very, very open. And we have industry leading SLAs, just to call out a couple of these aspects around the networking in particular. This is really, really exciting and a massive advantage for startups. But free cloud is just the beginning. So we really do want to lay out this journey. So our invitation is to come and try, get hold of some free credit, realize the potential, realize cost saving benefits, and then go on to continue to build a relationship with Oracle and tap into our marketing presence, tap into our PR position, tap into the global resources that we have at our disposal, and we provide to be at your disposal. Part of that leads into storytelling. So how can we raise your visibility, increase profile as a startup? Through podcasts, through content creation, through big events, and hopefully in future, face-to-face large conferences once again. We are looking for opportunities where we can help startups to showcase their innovation, tell their story. So our message to startups all around the world is this: if you are a startup of any size in the B2B or B2C technology space, and you're wanting that large addressable target market, we can help. If you're looking to tap into enterprise scale, if you want high quality, robust, low cost public cloud, we can help. If you want access to global customers, marketing and PR exposure and more, we can help. Our encouragement is to check out our landing page. That's where you can actually go and enroll, and you can do it today if you want to. Receive cloud credits, start building. Specifically for the purpose of this session today, I want to boil this down even further. So if you want to know more, if you want to explore further, this is my invitation. On the Q&A that we're going to enter into later, we're very eager to take questions and understand what you're looking to get out. My colleague Max Dunhill, who's on the webinar as well, he'll be around, and between us, we want to cover as many questions as we possibly can. On the subject of Q&A, look out for our AMA webinars, Ask Me Anything. So we have these running on a regular basis. We can provide some details. Again, Max and I are constantly looking to engage with the community, answer questions, and work out what we can do. I'd encourage you to get in contact with myself or Max. My email was on this slide. We'll make that available. Find us on LinkedIn. Just engage with us. We're available, and we'd love to talk. And finally, explore that landing page. So oracle.com/startup is a wonderful place for you to start understanding what we can do. There's links there to our blog site and stories and showcasing of other startups who have been successful in tapping into the partnership, tapping into the resources. With that, I am finished. I want to thank you again for the invitation to come and speak to you, and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matt. We were speaking earlier how it's very difficult, and we all miss this face-to-face interaction that we used to have before. But after your presentation, I'm happy to say that part of that energy and enthusiasm does get translated through the screen as well, because I'm not a startup founder, but even I got excited after your presentation. So thank you so much for giving us the details for the program. I would like to invite the attendees to continue asking questions. We already have a couple of questions, and we are receiving more. But before we start answering them, I would like to invite Mane Andreevski from Stornest to share with us his experience of using some of these tools as a startup.
Hi, Mane, can you hear?
Hello, everyone. I can hear you well. How about you?
Amazing. Thank you for joining us. Just to let you know, Mana is one of the startups from North Macedonia and the Startup Macedonia program that has been benefiting the Oracle Cloud and other services. So I wanted you, Mana, to share some of the experience you had with Oracle, and maybe first tell us something about Stornest and what it's all about.
Sure. Let me just share my screen a bit. Can you see it?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so hello, everyone. Again, my name is Mane Andreevski, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Stornest. So let me tell you something about our company. Stornest is a startup company backed by 10 angel investors with diverse experience coming from top management consulting firms, banks, and multinational corporations. We have launched our service several months ago, and by far we have a customer base of 200 users gathered mainly throughout our network of private and professional contacts, which help us fine-tune the product and offer our future customers a seamless and more convenient user experience. Currently, we're participating in the Startup Bootcamp Fintech Dubai Acceleration Program that is taking place in Dubai, the IFC, which is ranked as the 8th international financial center globally. As part of the program, we are working on developing proof of concept with leading financial institutions in the Middle East region, such as Visa, Mashreq Bank, and the DIFC itself. So, what is Stornest? Stornest is a company that provides a digital tool for legacy planning designed to share with loved ones any information that might otherwise get lost in case of a client's untimely passing. Our mission is to provide peace of mind for our clients now and for their loved ones when they may need it the most. The way our service works is the following. Our clients sign up, they assign beneficiaries and store information. We check up to make sure if they're alive and well, and if something were to happen, we pass on that information to their loved ones. On top of this, we have implemented a blockchain-based zero-knowledge proof technology, which allows total privacy over the information that is stored on our platform. So in a nutshell, this is what we are doing at Stornest. So when it comes to our collaboration with Oracle, given that we are a startup, which is tackling a very sensitive topic related to death and mortality, and we are asking our customers for unconditional trust with sharing their most important and sensitive information on our platform, we had a serious credibility issue. Our technology required a third-party integration with a blockchain key storage, and this is where we saw a very big opportunity to reduce the trust issue between us and our customers and gain more credibility partnering with a company like Oracle. I have to say big thanks to Mary Kuchera, since when we found out about the Oracle for Startup program, she was guiding us throughout the process of becoming a part of that program.
So Mane, what kind of support have you received so far, and what type of services you're using from Oracle?
Yeah, by far we have received support in free credits, as Matt said earlier, and also promoting our startup to their community, to the platform that Matt also introduced before. And I must say that the people from Oracle were very hands-on in making these things happen, especially Mary and Alex Niagu, who supported us all the way through.
And did it make a difference when you're communicating with your clients, when you have Oracle backing you with technology?
Yeah, definitely. It gives a big credibility for us, as I mentioned, being a startup. You know, partnering with companies like Oracle is giving more trust to our customers, and we for sure are very, very pleased with the collaboration with Oracle by far. And also, I would most definitely recommend this program to every startup that begins its journey. These are very significant things that every startup is encountering at the beginning. So having a partner like Oracle, which is so hands-on, is a very good wind in the back.
Amazing. Thank you, Mane, for sharing with us. I will leave the floor to Diana to go to the questions. And if any of you have more questions to Mane, Peter, and Matt regarding Oracle program and anything, please put your questions in chat or in the Q&A section. We'll address to you now, and afterwards, of course, we'll continue the collaboration.
Thank you, Mana. This was an excellent way to put things in context and to actually give us a feedback from, to put it this way, from the other side or from the user side about how this program can benefit startups. And it was wonderful to hear about your startup. I've heard about it before. I've always admired the idea, and it's good to hear that you guys are doing well. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A section. I see that Max has started to answer some of them in the actual space for the Q&A. But if you guys wouldn't mind answering them live for everybody to hear, because I believe not all attendees would be checking this session, and we do have some time set aside for question and answers. So would either Matt or Max like to answer some of these questions live? We do have Max here.
Yes, absolutely. I wasn't sure if that was my cue. Hello, everyone. Max Dunhill here from the Oracle for Startups team, dialing in from Amsterdam. And it seems that I have lost the questions. I see no open questions. However,
okay, I can share the questions with you if that's okay. So
please.
one of the questions was about how many credits do startups get?
And startups get initially $500 of free credits, with then the opportunity to request an extra 1,000 immediately after they sign up through the startup portal. In addition to this $1,500, which is actually equivalent to $5,000 of credits, because these $1,500 have the 70% startup discount applied to them. So the equivalent of $5,000 of credits, and then also the opportunity to take part in Credits to Scale, which is a buy one, get two offering, where a startup self-identifies a spending threshold, and once that threshold is met, receives 2x that amount in free credits.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. The second question was, how does the Oracle Startup Program compare with the Microsoft program in terms of offering?
And while I don't want to talk specifically about other cloud provider startup programs, because I am not familiar with them as well versed as with the Oracle for Startups program. What I would say about the Oracle for Startups program, and what I've heard from other founders, without talking about any other program specifically, is the focus on the quality, the consistency of the customer introductions, these enterprise customer meetings that are facilitated through Market Connect to Oracle's key accounts, as well as the opportunity for venture capital introductions and the mentorship offering, free migration support, and marketing visibility. So there's really the 360 degrees, if you will, ecosystem focus on putting together all the resources that a startup needs to achieve success.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we have another question, which is, which verticals are you mostly interested in? And have you considered mentoring for startups? I'm guessing this is a question to the Oracle team in general, but Max, are you comfortable maybe taking this question as well?
Absolutely. And mentorship is an integral part of the Oracle for Startups program. And what that means in practice is that startups can gain access to the industry best practice that Oracle colleagues offer. And that's both from a technical perspective as well as from a sales perspective.
So it's basically, because this was a follow-up question, it's basically both business mentorship and then technical mentorship as well, sort of all wrapped into one. Is that correct?
Yes, what the process looks like in practice is that through the startup portal, founder has the opportunity to fill out a questionnaire with what specifically that founder is looking for in a mentor. And then there's a roster of several hundred of Oracle mentors, and precisely the right mentor for that specific request of the founder will be found for them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Do we have any more questions?
I would like to ask a question directly, if I may. I want to ask, you mentioned that in both Peter's presentation and also Matt's, that you're drawing a lot of experience from the corporate sector, and as Oracle has been dominant in this area, now you're trying to really focus all that knowledge towards startups in collaboration with them. Has Oracle had any experiences where they're creating products together, kind of the corporate collaboration aspect, or the part of investing, because you already mentioned the investment aspect in support. So I'm interested in what type of examples you can share, maybe where Oracle was collaborating with a startup on a product, or maybe even investing or supporting the investment process for startups.
The beauty of the startup program is that it is a blank canvas for founders. And as poetic as that might sound, actually what that means in practice is that the program is self-service. And so there is opportunity for a founder to come along and say, look, I want to speak to an Oracle product team because I have identified that Oracle's offering, as complete as it is, the startup's offering can actually go the extra mile, and in cutting edge innovation, sort of on the frontiers of deep learning, then there are often opportunities for startup products to complement Oracle's offering and to co-create together and solve customer pain points, the likes of which are referenced on the oracle.com/startup page with the Yamaha case study, and a specific way in which Oracle and several startups working together were able to solve a pain point for a customer because their solutions complemented each other so well. And from an investment perspective, Oracle does not offer equity investment. Having said that, on the other hand, and what I'm about to say is the exception rather than the rule, on the other hand, Oracle is a highly acquisitive company, and looking at a recent acquisition of Source Video, it is not without precedent that a company that has joined Oracle for Startups eventually gets acquired. So there's a blank canvas for founders, and that blank canvas is about co-creating those opportunities together.
Thank you, Matt. Because you're an entrepreneur yourself, coming to Oracle and collaborating now, what has been your drive to actually do that, and how you believe Oracle can help startups in the Adriatic region per se?
My drive, former founder, and my drive has been the balance between the dynamism and excitement of a startup with the credibility of Oracle, and I think putting those two things together is the quickest way to make things happen and make substantial things happen, things with real sort of momentum and positive consequences for the community. And although I wish I was better informed on the Adriatics as a region, I think that the Oracle for Startups program in its nature of being all online, and therefore offering the tools not bound to the sort of geographic lottery that a founder might or might not have had their ticket for, and ending up in sort of Sandhill Lane in San Francisco or Shoreditch. Actually, opportunity isn't restricted by region, it's restricted by talent and making things happen. And I think that's why it's such a joy to be part of the Oracle for Startups team, because together we can make things happen. And I think Stornest's earlier presentation is such a clear illustration of how talent, the right idea with the right resources results in meaningful things.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Max.
We'll have a chance to go back to the questions later. If you have any, please put them in the Q&A or in the chat, and we can reach out to you.
Right. Thank you, Max, for jumping in to answer some of the questions. And now, last but not least, I would like to invite Victor Maggiari back to tell us what is next in terms of the collaboration between Startup Macedonia and Oracle for the Adriatic region. Victor, please.
Yeah, hello again. So let me share a bit. So if you're not already fed up with PPT, you still have something with me as well. Not more than a few slides, but anyway, just a sec. Okay. So before I'm getting into it, I just want to recap what we said and actually what you heard a bit within these couple of hours. So I think if we can find some good thing about COVID, it is that more companies, more people even, are more open toward digitalization, toward controlling their costs, toward developing agile their business, and also toward changing the rules of the game. This is primarily, let's say, again, if I can quote a good thing about COVID, is primarily an important step forward. Try to remember, like a few years ago, how many companies were interested about digitalization, how many were interested to enhance their security on their premises, how many of them they were enabled to do changes very fast, and how many they were actually controlling their costs. Whenever you were opening a server, I mean, lighting the light, it was there and you were consuming. So with the cloud, that's actually the beauty of it. So you can scale up, you can scale down, you can have the right consumption that you want, you can have the right spendings that you want, and the right investment. And let's be honest, if you consider security as a threat, because most of the companies are thinking, well, security is my core thing that I'm looking for in my system. Actually, cloud it is the most secure environment that exists right now on the planet. So everybody is considering, yes, I have like someone looking for my data, or maybe I have a device in front of like a firewall, but this is not security. If you look in-depth security, then actually you get to a very complex thing where actually very few companies are moving. So just to give an example, the other thing is that now companies are trying to find a way to survive. And it's the very best moment actually to invest into the cloud, because in the cloud you can control whatever it is. It is about innovation. Yes, you can control. It is about cost. Exactly, you can control. It is about security or anything else you can control, and you can have actually the one that you liked. I mean, the environment that you like to have it. Something that probably is not it was not mentioned is that we connected our generation to cloud with Microsoft Azure. So if you would like to have a solution which goes toward in both major clouds, let's say today, or then you can do it, or you can launch something in your Oracle which goes and point to as well to some Azure, let's say, services. So it's more and more easy to work and to develop into the cloud. And actually, I think it is a good opportunity for any startup today, because you have the innovation, you have the drive, you have the ideas, and if you're not supposed to invest that much in order to develop solutions or even to make your business better, cloud, it is by far an option. You heard that we support startups. You heard that we help them in all the aspects of their journey to the cloud. You heard that we are helping the startups to learn how to use our products and our tools to develop easy, agile, and so on. So it is the right momentum and the right place. So in December, we will put more muscles on this workshop. So we will have a number of things, or a number of workshops that will be happening. So 2nd of December, we will have specific for developers. We will have a funnel or let's say workshop introducing tools, how to develop, what to do, how to use our cloud, our tools, our solutions that are also available in the cloud. For instance, if you look for an agile reporting dashboard, then you can very easily start using cloud analytics in our cloud, and so on and so on. I don't want to reveal more, but there is a lot of information that we will pass it through you in December. Then in 9th of December, we will show to you how you can develop your business, what would be the right way to develop your solutions and to scale according to the request of the market. You'll see also other solutions that are available in our cloud, also in Oracle Marketplace, where actually there are more things to benefit for startups. And then in the last one from December, we will present how we can support on 16th of December, how we can support business-wise your success, meaning how we can help you to leverage what currently you're using, what it is in our plans to engage with you on each of the cases, how we can leverage your knowledge not only across your country, but also across the Adriatics and also across EMEA. So there are many things to be benefit. So I really look forward to see all of you in this December, hot December, I would say. So from my side, it's an open invite. Please join. We have more to tell you. Thank you again very much for inviting me today. And if there is anything that you still need to learn about, please raise any questions so we can go on and answer it. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Victor, for the summary of events coming up where startups can learn a little bit more about the tools that you have put at their disposal. I would like to push one more time for any remaining questions anyone might have. No questions?
I will have one question, if I may, to Victor. We are starting a collaboration with Oracle for the whole Western Balkans, and I'm really interested in the aspect of Oracle as the key factor to success to the technology businesses. So we're not just talking about startups, but also businesses that would like to create technology products and like drive the part of digitalization. Do you feel that now is the right time to actually be partnering with this region, especially so that you can kind of anchor yourself as the partner to be in the technology space?
Yeah, well, to answer, I will give you a bit of longer answer, but because I've been in like an environment that now Adriatics are. So in Romania, if you remember, 1990s, we were like a very complicated times. And it was a question mark at the time, how we can get closer to the, West European countries in terms of development, in terms of, let's say, wealthiness, if not else, in terms of innovation and so on and so forth. And it was pretty much obvious that if we do not get a right driver in front of us, then by ourselves, it was very unlikely to recover the gap between us and other countries. So we started to invest, actually, country as a whole, we start to invest in collaborating with big companies. I just can tell you that, for instance, Romania business, Oracle in Romania business started in 1995. So like 5 years after the company was born in US, so very early in a sense. So, and then we invested steadily. I mean, country was looking for very high-end technology, very good technologies to thrive. Now we have in the center of Romania today, I'm coming to the, due to this investment, we have a Silicon Valley in Romania. We have in the center of Romania is the core of the IT companies. We pass, it is a Romanian startup, was a Romanian startup like some years ago. So, and now it's one of the most prestigious robotics, let's say, companies in the world. So I think it is the very right moment. I mean, it is the way to make a leapfrog. I mean, to jump really high and to actually solve and help to the development of the country, solve all the problems of the country in terms of development, IT and stuff, but also catching up with more developed countries. Bear in mind, for developers, in order to be creative, they don't need anything. I mean, their brain, some development tools or language that he or she should understand, and innovation. That's the only thing. And then if that's successful, then they can expand wherever in the world. We don't have any boundaries. And this is what actually Oracle offers to our partners. No boundaries when it comes to collaborations, when it comes to development across the world, why not? When it comes to agility and freedom to choose between our solutions and between the way the partner wants to develop himself. Yeah, so I think it's the right moment.
Excellent. This was a very nice sentiment to maybe end this event on. I would like to thank again our speakers, Peter and Matt. I would like to thank Max and Mane for jumping in and giving us the view from the user side. I would like to thank Victor for giving us the details of this cooperation. I would like to thank all of you who joined us here today, and I hope to see you all at one of the other 44 events that Startup Macedonia has planned for you this week. Enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.